So you're telling me, the guild leader said to the blood-soaked adventurer. You defeated the Dragon King, wiped out the Northern Bandit Tribes, and rescued 6 cats from trees all because you wanted to impress a girl? Oswald the Heavy had seen a lot of things, both during his time as the guild leader and back in his adventuring days, but he wasn't quite sure he'd ever seen anyone like Helena. She had started out like most adventurers that came through his door. Eager to prove herself and frustrated with the types of jobs he'd offered at the start, but there was a method to Oswald's madness. Saving cats was a job that showed you if someone had follow-through. Goblins would show you they could handle themselves in a fight. To the adventurers, especially those that came from other guilds, the jobs were tedious, but to Oswald, it was all research. Critical information gathering that let him run an efficient and safe guild hall. Well, as safe as guild halls got. No amount of information gathering had prepared him for Helena. The woman pulled a small bundle of bounties out of her bag, so she was who'd been stealing his copies alongside the signatures marking job completion. Oswald suppressed his surprise as he grabbed his reading glasses, replacing his shock with a gruff, "Guild rules say one job at a time." "Sorry," she said as she took her midnight hair out of her ponytail and let it fall. "Stuff was on the way." "On the way?" Oswald read over the sheets. It was impressive that she'd taken care of the bandit tribes, considering she usually worked alone, but then he flipped over the last sheet. He was right, he'd never seen anything like her. That last writ was from the palace, the bounty for the Dragon King. How had she even gotten her? "What rank are you?" "Gotta cash those in order," she said. "I should get to journeyman from the cats, then vanguard from the northern bandits, which would make me legal for the..." Yeah, Oswald waved a dismissive hand. "You know that the point of the limits ain't the logistics of it. It's to keep kids like you safe." "Oh," Helena said. "In that case the order doesn't matter." Oswald rolled his eyes. He was used to this sort of behavior from wizards and other eggheads who tried to game any system they got their ink-splotched hands on. From what he understood, Helena couldn't tell ass from tea kettle when it came to magic. "What was your party for the Dragon King job?" "Rolly." "Rolly?" Oswald asked. It was just the first name and that didn't make any sense. Helena might have been confused about magic, but Rolly was confused about everything. "You brought Rolly with?" "Oh, no. He just pointed me toward the right way at Jaggard's Crossing when I lost my map, so he helped." "That puts him in my party, right?" Oswald looked down at the sheet. She was seriously saying she went alone, and well, the king of Tarvanium had only signed her name on the bounty sheet. Did everyone else possibly die? Deceased? "The Dragon King," Helena said with the stalwart tone that showed she didn't know she was answering the wrong question. "On the Dragon King quest. If we're talking the other quests, there was a nest of hornets in one and then about 14 bandits. About? 12 through 14 might have made it. I wasn't sticking around to check. I had places to be." "Where did you have?" "The dragon." "Yeah, the Dragon King," Oswald nodded along as he caught on to the answer to his question. "Look." "Helena." "Yeah? You did good work here. Thank you." "But..." Oswald slammed the pile of papers in front of her to draw her attention and set the scale for his next words. "The rails are there to keep you safe, Helena. You can't just go ignoring the order and embarking on high-level missions alone." "Oh," she said, "I'll bring someone next time then." She offered a weak thumbs up. If it wasn't for professionalism, Oswald would have sworn. Instead, he just massaged his temples. "Just one more question before payout," he said. "Sure." "Why in the Pantheon did you feel like you had to do this?" he asked. "Oh. That's easy. I was speaking to Sarif, the mage, and I asked if she'd let me take her out to dinner. She didn't seem that interested." Oswald nodded. That sounded like Sarif. "But then I asked if I could change her mind, and she said I just needed to kill the Dragon King." "What?" "So I did." Helena shook her head to fluff her freshly released hair, her armor clattering as she did. "Now I just need to find her this evening to let her know I did it and that we can go on that date." Oswald was a professional at keeping his mouth shut. It was almost half his job, dealing with egotistical adventurers. That said, he couldn't keep the next words to himself. "Oh, you poor girl." "What?" "So you're telling me," Oswald said to the blood-soaked adventurer. "You defeated the Dragon King, wiped out the Northern Bandit Tribes, and rescued 6 cats from trees all because you wanted to impress Sarif?" "Yeah." "Oh, Helena," he said, reaching across the table and grabbing her hands. "Sarif didn't really want you to kill the Dragon King." "Then why'd she say it?" "She said it instead of no," Oswald explained. "To someone like you, killing the Dragon King is supposed to be impossible. Like the Infernum freezing over, or Elsmith blinking every eye at once." Helena stared at Oswald for a moment. "So she meant to say no?" "Yes." "Then why didn't she just say that?" There was a lot of things Oswald could say to that. There was the fact that most people would understand what she meant. The fact that most people would get killed trying if they didn't understand Sarif's meaning. The fact that Sarif, above all, was a bastard. Instead he said none of them and only offered a small smile. "No idea, Helena. Would you like your payment in gold or platinum?" "Oh." She seemed to forget her mild heartbreak at the mention of money. "Platinum, please." Oswald turned away from the bar to find a safe and chuckled to himself once he was out of earshot. He was sure that he'd never met anyone like Helena, but he was starting to wondering where he could find more of them.